So this is our 8 limbs of yoga, pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses. And this is the prop that you might need today, a blindfold of sorts. This is a freebie from a plane. Now, I'm not going to be wearing a blindfold, but otherwise that would be the blind leading the blind. But if you have your blindfold, you can pop that on now. And let's just find a comfortable seat. So begin to sit, maybe on a block. If you've got blocks by the side of you, you can, of course, use those. Placing the hands in a comfortable place, whether that's in the lap, whether that's in a mudra, whether it's on the knees. Just allow the fingers to gently curl up towards the palms, or maybe you take a Jan mudra with the thumb and the index finger touching slightly. And as you sit here, just start to become comfortable. Comfortable with the fact that you have got a blindfold on. The eyes are closed underneath. And quite often we close our eyes in meditation or seated intention work, and sometimes throughout the practice, but not for the whole entire practice. So if at any point you become uncomfortable, or you don't understand what I'm explaining, what posture that we're going into or transitioning into, just always take the blindfold off, take a quick look, or maybe take it off and rest for a couple of minutes, and then pop it back on. But have the intention that this is our pratyahara, withdrawal of the senses practice, withdrawal of sight, and withdrawal of any sounds really around you. I don't play music on my Zoom classes or online recordings, but no music to distract you from this present moment. And as we close our month of the 8 limbs of yoga in August, Pratyahara is limb number 5, to go inside. And it's a withdrawal of the senses that occurs through practice of concentration and focus. As we fine-tune our attention, our senses naturally turn inward. When the mind focuses intently, pratyahara becomes a natural state. When we absorb ourselves in something, the senses follow. If our life is led solely by our senses, we are held prisoner to them. Pratyahara does not mean escaping the world by blocking out, numbing, or running away from our experiences. This 5th limb tells us to fully participate in life without being unconsciously led by sights, sounds, smells, tastes, and other sensory desires. If we cultivate our inner world, we are less likely to have knee-jerk reactions to the comings and goings of our outer world. When we attain this space, we can respond appropriately with wisdom. When we nourish ourselves so thoroughly on the inside, we no longer need to seek nourishment on the outside. Just thinking about those words, thinking about the description of what the 5th limb holds for a yoga practice. And the 8 limbs of yoga is, 2,000, maybe 3,000 years old from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, and is still so relevant in today's world, in today's modern world. things that are happening around us. Life is full on, from mobile phones, tech, telephone calls, communication, movies, cars, traffic, driving, you name it, it surrounds us. And sometimes it's hard to shut off. So taking a couple of our senses away, which is our sight and our hearing today, really drawing inwards, learning to be silent, letting your quiet mind listen and absorb. Steady the flow of your breath, bringing you into the present moment. Listen to the sounds around you, distant, nearby, maybe the sound of your own breath. Feel the sensation of the clothes on your body. Feel the sensation of touch of the hands or your mudra. And just dwell here for a while. Welcome aromas inside the nostrils and tastes inside your mouth. Maybe take a swallow or two. And sense the changing colors behind your eyelids. Now slowly start to let go of the senses one by one. Taste and touch, smell, sight, and sound start to fade out as you draw inward to yourself. Notice your senses start to give way to more subtle sensations that you experience within. The felt sense becomes more apparent. And these subtle sensations, as if you were shining the spotlight of concentration into the darkness of your body and the cave of your heart. Let's just sit with that sensory withdrawal, just for a couple of minutes of silence. If each sense starts to pop back in, be aware of that sense activating itself. And return back to drawing inwards. Start to bring back the senses one by one. Noticing sounds, noticing taste, noticing smells, noticing touch, and notice the darkness or any shapes or colors behind the eyelids. Start to deepen the breath as you bring some gentle movement back into the fingers, wiggling fingers, moving into the wrists, circling one way, circling the other. And then just release the chin to the chest, stretch out the back of the neck, relax the shoulders there. Let the head become heavy. Soften through the jaw, soften through the facial expression. And then gently as you breathe in, lift the head as if you were lifting the internal gaze. And keep moving through that neck position as the gaze lifts, lengthening the back of the neck, bringing the gaze to the sky. Again, this is internal gaze, internal drishti. Supporting the weight of the head with the muscles in the neck. Lengthening through the spine, just bring the head back into the center and just turn the head to look over one shoulder as if you are looking back behind you. Feel the stretch in the side of the neck, and as you breathe in, bring the head back into center and take the chin over the other shoulder. Bring the head back into the center and bring the hands forward as you release the legs from your seat back behind you into a tabletop position. Be aware of your body moving in space without sight to guide you. Find your tabletop, placing the hands down and feeling that the wrists are underneath the shoulders and feeling that the knees are underneath the hips. And start to come to a gentle and soft cat and cow. Breathing in for the back extension of cow, breathing out, rounding, pushing away from the floor into cat. Slow down the breath as you invite this gentle spinal movement. And just drawing the focus inwards to experience the felt sense and any physical sensations and what might be coming up for you emotionally when the blindfold is on. And then once you come into that last cat pose, just release the knees wide of your mat, bring the big toes to touch, and just soften the hips back towards the heels, coming into a wide leg child's pose. Maybe the hands come underneath the head, maybe they reach forward. But soften and melt the chest down towards the floor. Relax the spine, feel the spine lengthening from sacrum to the base of the skull. And here is a wonderful opportunity when the eyes are closed behind the blindfold. Our Ajna chakra, the area between the eyebrows, is connecting to the earth to invite an intention for your practice today. One of our theme of sensory withdrawal, pratyahara, how this can enlighten and enhance a yoga practice. And we won't be doing complicated, complex postural work. We won't be taking any standing balances. But we're already taking ourselves out of our comfort zone by wearing a blindfold. Again, I remind you, if at any time you do feel uncomfortable, take the blindfold off and open up the sight sense. From here, lift up as you breathe in, bring the knees parallel. We're coming into a melting heart pose, keeping the hips above the knees. Reach the fingers to the front of your mat and start to release the chest down towards the floor. You might be resting on the chin, you might be resting on the forehead, you might have a block handy by the side of you if you know where those blocks are. And just feeling the heaviness between the shoulder blades. As you breathe out, let go just a little bit more. So hips stay nice and high. Heaviness into the upper body. Notice any tightness, any tension as that releases out. Lift the head away from the mat and just gently start to shift the body weight forward. So you're going to bring your shoulders over your elbows and come into a kneeling forearm plank. So knees are staying down, forearms are there on the mat, and the crown of the head reaches forward. So that means that the gaze, internal gaze, is looking down towards the floor between the forearms, and the neck is long and the spine is long, lifting up the navel gently. From here, we're going to go straight into a Sphinx pose. So we simply drop the hips, drop the pubic bone, and then lift up into a gentle back bend. You can always bring the elbows a little bit further forward of the mat, keeping those all 10 toenails planted on the floor. So shoulders are resting away from the ears, lengthening that space between the earlobes and the collarbones. There's no tension in the face, the jaw, or the neck. Chest is opening out to the front of the mat. Let the hips drop just a little bit more to the floor. Feel the pubic bone and the hip bones just spread themselves out as you lift into the upper body and release heaviness in the lower body. Now, nice and slowly, we're going to widen those elbows as we roll down through the belly, rolling down through the chest, bringing the head to the back of the hands and bring the big toes to touch. Let the heels just roll and fall out to the sides as you just relax into the glutes and the lower back. Give yourself a little shimmy, a little shake. Just rock the hips left and right. Take all 10 toes back down to the mat. Reach the right arm back behind you and maybe catching hold of the right foot. Lift the thigh up and then extend the hip flexor downwards, extending the thigh towards the back of the mat, and then pull the thigh down. So just stay in this nice quad stretch, releasing heel to buttock, releasing hip flexor to floor. Again, as we direct our attention, our focus, concentration inwards to that darkness of the body, noticing what our body is actually doing here. If you like, you can switch the grip, bringing the hand on the inside of the big toe. So the forearm is facing to the right side of your mat. And then we're going to lift up that thigh, pressing the foot into the hand, pushing the shin away from you, behind you. So it's a half bow. Thigh and knee gently lift away from the floor. And you can keep the head down on the hand if you like. Try and stabilize through both hip bones. Gently release the thigh, release the hand, let the foot float down. Bring the hand back underneath the head, change sides. Left arm sweeps back, takes hold of left foot. Go for the quad stretch first of all. Drawing hip flexor down to the floor, lengthening the thigh down, pulling heel to buttock. So we stay here for about 5 or 6 breaths before we move into our half bow. And of course, we don't always have to go for the half bow option. We can simply flip the grip and keep the thigh down on the floor. Now change the grip. So the hand, the palm of the hand comes on the big mound of the big toe, and then start to press the foot into the hand as the thigh lightly floats away from the floor. Notice what happens in the other leg to accommodate this. Notice what happens in the back. Notice how much strength you need to hold that leg up in the air. And then nice and slowly lower the thigh, release the hand, release the foot. Let it float down. Big toes come together, heels fall out, and just relax. Give yourself that little release through the sacrum once more. Take the feet as wide as your mat. Keep all 10 toes pressing down. Bring the palms of your hands to the top corners of your mat, pressing up into seal 5 times. Ripple up as you breathe in. Ripple down as you breathe out. So we're aiming to push away the palms through the floor, straightening those arms, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears. Twice more, rippling up and rippling down. And the last one, we come up, we stay, we hold for 5 breaths in seal. The arms can move a little bit further forward if that is really uncomfortable for the lower back. Dropping pubic bone, dropping hip bones, keeping all 10 toes touching if you can, even those little toes. Pushing away through the palms, letting ears stay long from the collarbones. Nice. And slowly lower down, come all the way onto the mat with your cheek on the mat. Bring the hands back to the hips. Relax the shoulders and palms face up. Take a moment to just soften out. So from here, we're going to roll over onto our backs, but we can keep the head at the front end of our mat. So just roll yourself over. Again, just trust yourself with the blindfold on that you're going to stay on that sacred space of your mat. Head is on the mat and draw the knees in towards the chest. So just find knees to chest, lengthening spine, lengthening tailbone, lengthen neck. Feel the back of the head planted, shoulders relaxed. And if you like, just introduce a nice little rock from side to side, just rolling over onto each waist and each rib. And then you can introduce a nice little circle as the knees go one way and then the other. Give yourself a little massage through the spine here after those back bends of heart pose, sphinx, and seal and half bows. And then open the knees out to the side. Take the knees away from one another so the knees go out to the outer edges of your mat, circling Getting a little bit more movement and lubrication into the hips. Circle one way, then change the direction. And again, just experience everything with the eyes closed. We're not looking at the screen. We're not looking at our body. We are just feeling. And then take both legs up towards the sky, hands down by the side of the body. If the hamstrings feel tight here, bend the knees and drop the thighs down towards the belly. Lengthen the tailbone and try and spread out the pelvis, spread out the sacrum. Drop navel to spine, spine to mat. Feet might be together, feet might be apart, knees might be bent, knees might be straight. Have this internal gaze that looks up towards the toes and beyond. They are there, you can feel they're there, they're suspended in space. And then start to curl the toes back into a flexion of the ankle, pressing the soles of the feet up towards the sky, stretching through the calves, the back of the knees and the hamstrings, and then point the feet, point the toes, lengthen the tops of the feet, lengthen the ankles. Notice how the shins feel, and then keep doing that for a moment. So flexing as if the soles of the feet were pushing against something flat above you, and then stretching through the tops of the feet. Then start to draw big circles in the air with your big toe. So imagine that you have a pen attached to your big toe and you're drawing perfect circles. And then change the rotation. Draw the circle the other way. Really get into the whole entire ankle joints. And that can be slow, that can be fast, your speed. And then relax the legs, give them a little shake. Shake the feet, shake the ankles, shake the calf muscles. Shake the legs. And then let's pull those feet down closer towards us with the hands as we come into a happy baby. So the knees go wide of the rib cage. Pulling the thighs down either side of the body, pulling the knees either side of the mat. Soles of the feet face up towards the sky, lengthening tailbone, lengthening spine, relaxing into the neck, relaxing into the face. You might have had a little rock and roll in that happy baby, dropping a knee to the floor. And again, being aware of your body in space and being aware of the space around you and obviously what is around you, other than your yoga mat, what's around the edges. Not hitting any furniture. Coming back into the center to find stillness and just take a few steady breaths here in that happy baby with a nice little smile on the face. Release the hands from the feet. Take the feet wide of your mat and drop the knees in towards the center together. Turn the toes slightly pigeon-toed. Relax the ankles. Relax the calves. Relax the hamstrings and the buttocks. Let the belly rise and fall. Maybe the hands are on the belly. Maybe they're by the side of you. And just tap into that sense of touch with the whole back body on the floor, soles of the feet. Take the arms out to the side of you, shoulder height if that feels comfortable. Palms are gently facing up towards the sky. We're going to open the knees, keep the feet where they are, wider edges of your mat. Drop the knees over to the right, coming into reclined twist. So letting that trailing leg, the left leg, drop down towards the floor. And if you like, you can change your internal gaze to look along your left arm towards your fingers and beyond. As you come into this reclined twist, just notice where you might be gripping. Notice any areas that feel tight, feel tense. Maybe clenching into the buttocks, into the hips, into the thighs. Try and let go of the pelvic floor. And if you want to just have an extra little bit of a stretch here, just lifting the right foot away from the floor and again, feeling in space, placing that right foot over the top of your left knee and left thigh. So it's an all four position. So right foot, right ankle is over the left knee. The weight of that right foot gently draws that knee down towards the floor. It might increase the rotation. Then bring the head back into center first of all. Realign the head, realign the neck. And then keep the right foot where it is. Bring the knees back into the center and wiggle that left foot into the center line. So realign hips, pelvis, spine, as symmetrical and as neutral as you can. So here we've got our right foot crossing over our left lower thigh. Preparing for our reclined pigeon pose. Interlace the fingers behind your left thigh and gently draw that left knee in towards you, and that right knee leverages out to the outer edge of your mat. Try and release tension in the right glute. And then slowly release the left foot down to the floor, release the hands from beneath the thigh, and slide that left leg all the way along the mat as you gently let that right knee drop open, releasing into that right hip. It's like a half butterfly or a reclined tree pose. Use the right hand to guide that right knee back into the center and just extend both legs all the way along the mat into a shavasana as you just let go and relax. So thinking about those postures that we did with our eyes closed, having to listen intently to what the cues are. Draw both knees in, roll and massage out through the spine. One way, circling the other. Take the feet wide of your mat. This time the knees drop over to the left side. Both feet are apart from one another. Both knees are apart, arms are at shoulder height, and you can lift the head and look with that internal gaze towards your right fingers and beyond. Let the trailing leg, the right knee, drop down gently towards the floor. It doesn't have to be forced. Weight, gravity lets it release a little bit more. And notice if you're gripping or clenching anywhere in the buttocks, the hips, the outer thighs. If the neck doesn't feel comfortable, keep the head up into the center.
And again, that extra little stretch as we take the left foot, placing it over the right knee, right thigh, adding that little extra bit of weight to pull that right knee down gently towards the floor. Again, you decide if the neck needs to stay where it is, looking towards the right hand, or you might bring it center. Relax into the left knee, letting that hip open. We've got an internal and an external rotation going on opposite legs. Breathe in and bring the head and the neck back into center first of all. Now bring the legs back up into center, wiggle that right foot into the center line, realign hips, realign spine, realign shoulders. And let's find that reclined pigeon pose, interlacing those fingers behind our right thigh or in front of your right shin, and then gently exhaling and drawing that right thigh closer towards the chest. Notice if it feels aligned. Notice where the knees feel in comparison to the rest of the torso, the rest of the legs, the rest of the hips. Release the hands, release the foot to the floor, and slide that right leg all the way along the mat. Keep that left foot on top of the knee if it feels good to do so, and just let that left knee fall out to the side. Try and relax into any of the glutes and the underside of that left leg. Use the left hand to guide that knee back up into center, and then extend that left leg all the way along the mat. Find your Shavasana. Notice now if the body feels aligned. Draw the knees in, roll and massage out. And from here, we're going to roll back over onto our bellies. So just shifting the hips over to one side and just roll back over. Bring the head onto the hands and just press all 10 toes down into the mat. Nice straight legs there. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Press up back through a cobra, back through tabletop, and release back into child's pose. Nice and slowly, exhaling, belly, chest down to thighs. Head can come to hands, to a block, or the hands reach out in front of you. Try and release as much as you can through the back body here, releasing through the spine, softening buttocks back to heels. Walk the hands nice and slowly back towards the knees as you uncurl the spine. Come to the back of your mat in a kneeling pose. So just rest the buttocks on top of the heels. Just check in, realign the spine, feel symmetrical here. Shoulders relax away from the ears. Check in, how are you feeling? Are we doing okay? Good. So from here, fingertips go back behind you, close to the toes.
You might like to widen the knees a little bit. We're just going to lift up into a quad stretch here so that we can continue to get the front gate of the body working just as much as the back gate. So maybe on fingertips, maybe on palms, maybe on blocks, lifting up the hips and finding that alignment from knee to hip to shoulder. And the gaze might go to the sky. Try not to cave into the chest, but rather open the shoulders, open the sternum. Finding the steadiness of the breath, internal gaze up towards the sky, and then gently releasing buttocks back to the heels, releasing the hands coming off the wrists and bringing the hands palms face up to rest on the thighs. Just squeeze and stretch into the hands. So clench a fist, stretch the hands, clench a fist, stretch the hands. Give them a little shake. And then slide the hands forward into tabletop, tucking the toes and exhaling into a bent-legged downward facing dog. So start to feel your down dog. With the blindfold, might be something quite new, quite unfamiliar. Again, if it doesn't feel comfortable, come down, take the blindfold off, take a few moments, pedaling out through the toes, releasing a heel at a time, feeling the stretch through the back of the calves, the back of the knees, the back of the hamstrings. When you're ready, releasing both heels together, exhaling, lengthening the legs, pressing chest gently back towards the thighs. Feel everything about this down dog. And if you practice regularly, down dog might be a common place, but maybe feels different today without sight. Feel what it's like to be upside down. Darkness behind the eyelids. So gently lift the gaze and bring the right foot to your right wrist. So step forward with the right leg, dropping the back knee gently towards the floor, releasing to the top of the foot and coming into a lizard pose. So start to find lizard again. If you've got blocks handy by the side of you and that you know where they are and you can bring them to your aid, you can use those underneath the fingertips, underneath the hands. We're going to stay in that lizard just for a moment. Start to feel where the foot is in line with the knee. Start to release the hips, keeping the chest nice and open. Maybe you come down onto the forearms. You do not have to. Maybe you come down onto the blocks. Coming back up onto the fingertips, we're going to gently come back into a half splits from here. So pulling hips back in line with the knee, straightening through the front leg and digging the toes up towards the shin, digging the heel in. We reach the fingertips forward of our mat and exhale between that gap of our inner thigh. Soften the shoulders, relax the head, ears between the biceps, bend into that front knee if the hamstring feels tight. Come forward, bending into the right knee.
And placing the hands, and we're going to come into a tabletop as we sweep that right leg back behind us. So be careful of everything around you in your space. It comes into a tiger pose. So here, right leg is up in the air behind you, lifted. Palms are pressing down through the mat. Now, if you feel steady enough to do so, you can lift the left hand and take it to the right foot, a blindfolded tiger. That does take some work in the balance. I warned you that we weren't going to go into standing balances. I didn't say anything about kneeling balances. Nice and slowly, lower the hand, lower the knee, tuck the toes, exhale, go straight back into your downward facing dog. Finding more confidence as we transition and move. Becoming more confident in your own yoga practice with the blindfold on. Shifting that internal gaze, shifting the shoulders forward, bringing the left foot to the front of your mat by your left wrist. Dropping the back knee gently towards the floor, relaxing to the top of the foot, finding that lizard pose once more on the left side. So again, either on fingertips, on palms, or on blocks, open the chest, shoulders are away from ears. Drop the pelvis towards the floor. Maybe coming down onto the forearms. You do not have to. Always options to stay where you are. Noticing how this feels from the opposite side. Maybe making those mild adjustments. If you went down onto the forearms, start to come back up. And then bring the hips back into that half splits position, digging the front heel in, drawing those toes back towards the shin, reaching fingertips forward in the gap between that left inner thigh and coming into a forward fold from there. Bringing the ears between the biceps, reaching fingers away, exhaling into the fold. Never over forcing, honoring the body. Bend into the front knee, bring the hands back to stabilize you in a tabletop, and carefully watching things around you that you know that were there in your space before, sweeping that leg back behind you, opening up the left hip into that tiger pose, staying there if you like with 3 points of contact on the floor, or releasing right hand, catching left foot. Oh, it's so tricky when you don't have the sight. I'm closing my eyes, by the way. I don't have a blindfold on, but some of these things I am doing with my eyes closed. I'm keeping a check on you. Nice and slowly release the hand, release the foot, tuck the toes, exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to go through a connecting vinyasa. Blindfold, inhale, come forward into plank. Exhale, take your chaturanga or up dog or knees, chest, shin, cobra. Feel the movement through the breath without sight. Exhale, back into downward facing dog. Walk the feet towards the hands. Come into the center of your mat and take a full forward fold there. Feel that the feet are facing forward, they're grounded, equally weight distributions, and let the body fold over the thighs. Maybe you take hold of the elbows. Maybe you let the hands fall to the floor. Maybe you have the hands on the shins. Maybe you have the elbows on the knees and you're in a light bent squat. One little test before we come into our further reclined work is that we're going to heel toe the feet out to the wider edges of our mat, keeping fingertips on the floor as we bend the knees over the feet and come into our Malasana squat. Go steady, go slowly, find the balance before releasing the hands, and maybe the hands come to the heart center. Lengthening spine, dropping sit bones to floor. Feel everything that needs to work here to keep you upright and balanced without wavering. Settle in and trust. From here, release the hands and just take the hands behind you and sit down. Extend the legs out in front of you. Wiggle the flesh underneath the sit bones, coming into our seated forward fold. Feel where you are on your mat. Are you at the front? Are you at the back? Are you in the middle? Know where you did your squat. Lift the arms up above the head. Be careful of anything that's the side of you. Reach up and over, going into that seated forward fold. Maybe the hands reach way past the toes, and then you can settle on the feet, the shins, or the floor. Give yourself a little wiggle under the sit bones to release that flesh. And exhale as you pull navel gently in towards the spine. A seated forward fold is a wondrous posture to draw inwards anyway, but when we're blindfold, we are doubly drawing inwards. Pratyahara allows for withdrawal of the senses, but our mind's focus and concentration draws us into the present. Lengthen the spine as you breathe in and just bring yourself back up to seated. Sit nice and tall, extend the legs, just point and flex through the feet, rotate through the ankles, and bend the knees. And maybe you feel that you are a little bit further away from the front of your mat, so you might want to shuffle your way forward so the tips of your toes touch the end of your mat, and then you can gently and slowly roll down through the spine. Again, it's having that trust in place of where the body is in space. Lie back, draw the knees in, roll and massage out. Extend the legs all the way along the mat, lift the arms up above the head. Give the body a big, big stretch. And then shuffle the shoulders over to the top right corner. Take the arms with you. We're going into banana asana, our crescent side bend. So releasing the right foot to the right corner, and then maybe the left foot goes over the top of the right ankle. So imagine if you were looking at yourself from above, you would be in a crescent moon shape, or a light C, or a banana.
Softening out through the glutes, releasing through the left side of the body in this lateral side stretch, lateral flexion. Shuffle the head, the shoulders, and the arms back into center. Realign the spine, release the arms down by the hips, and just simply keep the right foot where it is. Release the left to the other side of your mat. Lift the arms up above the head. Shuffle the shoulders, the head, and the arms over to your top left corner of your mat. Now take the right foot towards the left, maybe crossing over the ankle. Find that banana shape on the second side. Relaxing into the side stretch down the right body from fingernail to toenail. Bring the head, shoulders, and arms back into the center. Release the arms down by the side of the body. Release the right leg. Take a moment to rest in Shavasana. As you lie here, notice if you feel aligned. What do you need to do to move the upper body or the lower body to feel like it's fully aligned in space? Last posture, placing the hands down onto the lower belly. Bring the feet together, soles of the feet join, and we join in butterfly pose, reclined butterfly, letting the knees gently drop out to the sides of your mat. And just notice here, relax through the belly, relax through the spine. There might be a slight arch in the lower back. Now just draw the navel in and draw the spine in towards the mat. So noticing what happens there with the hip flexors. They might be feeling a bit grabby or a bit tense. Notice if that's gone down into the quads. Now relax the belly, relax the spine, relax those hip flexors, and let those glutes soften. Do that once more. Pull navel into spine, spine to mat. Lengthen the entire back body down on the floor. Notice what's happened with the hips, the legs. Keep breathing whilst you're holding this one. And then gently relax everything. Notice what's happened. As you let go and relax, have the knees fallen out slightly further towards the outer edges of your mat. Notice how you feel. Notice the felt sense as we come towards the end of our Pratyahara practice together. Notice what things may have come up for you mentally, emotionally, and physically through the practice when you have been blindfolded. How did you approach? How did you respond? How did you react? Did you trust the process? Did you trust yourself in space? To move without sight, taking one of our key senses away.
Release the hands from the belly, take them to the outer thighs. Use the hands to lift the legs together. Place the soles of the feet wide as we come into constructive rest. Let the knees drop in towards one another in the center of the mat. And maybe the arms go into cactus as you open up the chest and the shoulders. Relax the glutes. Let the hips relax. Let the sacrum spread. Heel toe, feet back into parallel. Draw the knees in towards the chest. Bring the arms over the shins. Roll and massage out. As we make our way into our Shavasana, you can choose whether you need to keep the blindfold on for Shavasana, or you switch to an eye pillow, or you just simply keep the blindfold on or close your eyes. But if you need to use blankets and props, maybe you need sight to get hold of those, or maybe you just simply lie back. Finding a place of stillness, making any final adjustments. Letting the body relax, release from movement, letting the mind relax, release from telling the body what to do. And relax the sound of my voice as I give you moments of silence and letting you know when it's time to come back around.
Beginning to bring your attention back into your surroundings, back into your space on the mat, the space that you have been occupying for your practice today. Deepening the breath as you bring gentle movement into the hands, into the feet. Stretching and drawing knees in, rolling, massaging out for the last time today. If you're able to keep the blindfold on, if you haven't already taken it off, you can return to a comfortable seat as we bring the hands together in Namaste at Heart Center, Anjali Mudra, sitting tall where we began our practice together. Just take in that felt sense of the body. Take in the mental state, the calm, the stillness, the peace. And remind yourself of our Pratyahara practice, withdrawal of the senses to turn inwards, to go inside. And just as a tortoise withdraws its limbs, so when a man withdraws his senses from the sense objects, his wisdom becomes steady. Return to your own personal intention for practice today and how you can take that into a modern day life, into daily life. Always thanking yourself, thanking your body, thanking your senses for everything that they do for you. And I thank you for trusting yourself and trusting me. Namaste.